Hello, folks, and welcome back to another edition of MASL Insider, telling you stories from around the league and showcasing the players that make up our beautiful sport of indoor soccer. On today's episode, we're going to be remaining in the Lone Star State and talking to a player who has one of the best goals this season, if not one of the best goals you'll see in indoor soccer, period. A veteran of this game and one heck of a midfielder who, within his MASL career, has compiled over 100 goals and over 150 assists. A favorite son of Crawley, England, he did play for EFL League Two side Crawley FC before heading to the United States, a place he is now a proud citizen of. And we are talking about none other than the exciting and incomparable Jamie Lovegrove. Jamie, welcome to MASL Insider.
Billy, thanks for having me, boss. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. I've been really looking forward to chatting with you, man. I really enjoy watching you play.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great to be on the show. Hopefully, we can do this again in the future and let the fans listen to hopefully some insight about what we can do here in the MASL.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Now, last time you were in, my neck of the woods, Southern California, you sustained a bit of a toe injury. You went back to Texas with, something not so pleasant. Like, how are you feeling and how's the recovery been?
Yeah, it was a tough one. I did it against Frank, and I told him during the game, I was like, mate, I felt like I'm messing my toe up here. And we spoke about it. We laughed and joked, and I got back and had an x-ray on Monday. And there's a small crack just underneath my toenail on my big toe. So, it wasn't very comfortable on the journey home and stuff like that. But, I've been given three to 6 weeks. Obviously, I remain optimistic in all of that. And I think I might be closer to the 3-week mark, if anything, and I'm going to give it a go in training next week and see if I can be ready for Florida. And if it's not, then, we can talk about pain management and stuff like that. But obviously I want to play, and that's all I've ever known to do and all I've ever wanted to do. So touch wood, we might be ready for Florida.
Well, keep those fingers crossed, because I know myself, along with a lot of other fans in this league, are eager to see you get back out there. So speedy recovery on that one.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you mentioned this is all that you want to do, and this is what you dream of. This is you're living your dream, man. Not a lot of people can say they can. I mean, growing up in England, you wanted to be a professional footballer, or as we have to say for the purpose of this show, a professional soccer player.
Yeah.
You played for your hometown Crawley FC.
Yeah.
Then you ended up in Texas, Richland College. Then you transferred over to Midwestern State University. How in the heck did you end up going from England to Texas? What created that move?
So I'd signed pro coming out of high school, or signed the youth contract coming out of high school back home. And then it was time of year to decide really if I was going to stay a pro. Got offered a couple of contracts to stay semi-pro. And I have an older brother that's a year older than me. He decided to come to America. He did the whole go to this camp, go to that camp, do this college visit, do that college visit. And he landed on Midwestern. And at that point it was, to stop playing in England and come to America and give it a go. Obviously, the dream was to be part of the MLS. That was obviously my intention, being a pro back home. That obviously didn't work out. So I got in contact with Midwestern State and said that I was interested in coming over. They took a look at my grades. And again, as I say, I was a high school kid knowing I was going to be a professional footballer the next day. So probably going back, I could say I probably took those exams not as seriously as I should have. To get out of high school. And, long story short, they basically said, well, you can't get in with us, but you can go to a JUCO in Dallas. And again, I wasn't aware of anything of the time, and showed up to Richland, met my roommate, went and stayed with his family for a couple of weeks. And that was it. I was now living in America, going to college and playing for Richmond Junior College. So it just kind of worked its way through my brother. Obviously, I wanted to play college with him, hence the reason why I went back to Midwestern, because he was still there. Unfortunately, the NCAA took my years of pro and my 2 years at JUCO and basically ruled me ineligible. So I didn't have any years to play at Midwestern. That's kind of how I ended up in Texas. And honestly, I'm very grateful that I decided to move it, because I love Texas. I love Dallas. Dallas is great.
Texas is a great state. A lot of fun. Dallas, a gem of a city. I completely agree with you. Now,
for sure.
Was it a tough transition though, coming in from having lived in the UK to the States, to Texas in particular? Did you find that transition relatively easy? Obviously, having your brother certainly helped, but was it an easy adjustment for you?
I would say it was easier because of the lifestyle here. The lifestyle here is very more relaxed, given in the hometown that I grew up in. It's such a small town. I mean, you can fit England into Texas. I think it's like 5 times. So the space that was here And again, as I say, you alluded to earlier, I just came to play soccer. That was it. So anytime I'm playing soccer, I'm quite content. And there was some difficult moments being away from family and stuff like that. But I fell back on some very, very close friends that I remain close with now. One of the guys, even actually, that was from my junior college, ended up playing in the Sidekicks a couple of seasons with me. And obviously, one of the guys that's tearing it up for us right now, Alba Rodriguez, he was at Richland 2 years before I got there. So coming there, meeting those guys, been around that pedigree of a junior college, which it was easy because, again, as I say, I just was playing football when going to school was a tip of the iceberg for it. I still had to be in school and stuff like that. So, but we were training every day, again, like most colleges. And again, it was just a dream that I was still chasing. So, and still to this day doing the same thing. So I felt like anytime I was around the sport, I was going to be okay.
And yeah, and again, you're still living to that dream. And you mentioned the Dallas Sidekicks, so we'll transition over into that. You've been playing in the Major Arena Soccer League and indoor soccer for quite some time. So how did the opportunity present itself to you coming to play indoor? And what were your immediate thoughts going in from outdoor to indoor?
So it really goes down to that kind of that moment in my career where I was ruled ineligible with NCAA. It was a decision to basically go home and try to rekindle a career back there or figure out something else. I went into FC Dallas. That didn't work out. It wasn't just a good timing for me. I don't think I was prepared to go into there, and I didn't really give myself a good showing, which is okay, and that happens to everybody. And then a gentleman that you've met through Nesta, Jim Forringer, he actually called me. I was working with his club at that period of time, and he said, "I know Tattoo," and I, to be honest, Philly, I didn't know who Tattoo was. We don't have indoor in England. It wasn't existent. There's no such thing as indoor. We play in lightning, we play in thunder, and I'm sure it's changed a little bit now. But and I said, I don't know who that is. And of course, you type in Tattoo on YouTube, it comes up with a bicycle kick that he scored for Dallas to I believe win the championship. And I was like, okay. And then he said, look, you've got training this week. Go in. You got a tryout. And met Tattoo, met Caesar Servin. Kylie Couch was still there. Sagu was still there. Nick Stavro was still there. And again, none of those people had any relationship towards me. And I went into the tryout. I think my first touch was a goal, and I kind of settled in. And then the guys came up to me after and was like, hey, you want to give this a go? And at that point, it just was to stay in America or to go home and try, or to just give this a go and see where it ends up. And here I am. I think I'm now on my 9th season or 10 years later or whatever it is. And I'm still doing what was a chance on that day. And again, I got to thank so many people that they even gave me the opportunity. Jim, number one, Tattoo, and then all of the guys that I played with. I mean, even my coach now, I played with him when in that first season that we came back in the PASL. So thanks to those guys for giving me all the tools to be semi-successful. I'm not anywhere close to being super successful yet, but I still got a few years left. So hopefully I can get there.
Well, it seems to have worked out for you so far. I mean, you're putting up some awesome numbers. I mean, anybody who follows this game knows the name Jamie Lovegrove. So you certainly cemented yourself as a rock star within the Major Arena Soccer League. So I want to tip my hat off to you there.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of players that go from outdoor think that they can make the adjustment to indoor without any difficulty. Some do it better than others. Some it takes them some time. I mean, you mentioned your first touch. What was a goal? I mean, from then on, did you find the transition to be easy, or is it natural, or did it take some time?
Yeah, it was difficult because I go back to the first game we played, and we played Harrisburg at home, and that time was our first announcement of the team being back. And I want to say we had a good amount of fans in the arena, and you know, he recalls it to this day, I'm sure. I went up to Tattoo after the game and I just apologized because I didn't think I played well. I didn't think I did anything that he was encouraging me to do. And at that point, there was a moment where I was like, I might never get to play again. And he settled me down. And again, going back to the veterans that are in my team, they were like, you're fine. Just keep doing you. And I think one of the early stages of why I was able to adjust quicker than others is because I was quicker than a few players. I'm more direct. When I try to get on the ball, I want to go to goal as quickly as I can. And that kind of sort of replicated what the indoor game was all about in that period of time. And even to today, you know, you get players that are just so direct and only want to score goals, and that makes them successful. So I don't think it was a hard transition. I think the substitutions and stuff like that, knowing how long to be on the field was difficult. But again, I was surrounded by 14, 15 veterans that if I didn't do the right sub at the right time, it was quickly jumped on, it was quickly advised. And I learned real quick, whether it was the hard way or the easy way, I knew that I was on the field too long, or I knew that that was a wrong sub, or I knew that I shouldn't have done that. And if I wasn't feeling it from the boss tattoo at the time, it was Sagu. And I mean, that guy just looks scary at times. You don't even, he can say one thing and you're already panicking. And again, so I was very, very lucky to have those guys give me the tools to be, again, semi-successful in this league. And again, I still have conversations with some of those veterans even to today, and they're still helping me. I mean, Kylie Couch, I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, hey, you need to be doing this again, you're doing that again. And again, it's constantly grateful for these guys to give what I now can give to my team, being the captain of the team, to the rookies that we have. You know, I'm trying to advise them the best way that they advised me. So, you know, again, the transition for me wasn't as difficult as maybe others, and some are struggling now, even in our team, and some are struggling, some in the league. And the one thing that I'll say to them is, you got to get to the veterans, ask them, talk to people. I mean, the league is a massive family. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I called anyone from a different team and asked them for help, and they would give it to us. And I think that's really important too. So again, as I say, the transition wasn't as hard for me as others have found it, and I'm very lucky to have the surrounding group that I had at that period of time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's talk about your team, the Sidekicks, briefly, real quick, before we get on over to some fun topics. Now, you mentioned a couple of the rookies on your team. You had rookies last season. Now, a significant number of those players left to go over to your rivals, the Mesquite Outlaws. Knowing how good Mesquite is now and how much talent came from the Sidekicks, like, how did you guys, as an organization and as team captain, how did you take the news from all these players moving along right down the road?
It was difficult, obviously. You know, I think they're proving themselves and to be a very good players in this league. And we obviously had a good run for the first time in a long time last year. And we were under the belief that we were going to kind of stick it out together. They had other opportunities, and you know, I don't blame them from taking the other opportunities, because there was something that they needed in that period of time, and they needed to fulfill something that, you know, that we wish they were still a part of us. You know, I don't think we've had the best of seasons. I think that it's very obvious with our points and the way we've put up some results. But it's crazy, Philly, for me, because I think there's been so many times that we've been in games. You know, there's moments where we've kept teams close, and unfortunately, maybe we just don't have the experience that to keep players intact. And again, you know, I hope for a better season next season, and I think we're working towards that now. By no means are we giving up. We still want to get the remainder of the season and get as many points on the table as we can, and win as many games. So, you know, it's not been the best, and those guys know that they can achieve something over there, and hopefully we can find more talent, because those guys came out only last year or 2 years ago, and there's more talent here. So we just got to be mindful of getting decent players in and being competitive again, and I have no concerns over that at the moment. I think we can get back there. I think, you know, we made a trade at this point in the year to get Vic Moore back, and unfortunately Vic Moore has not been as healthy as what we have wanted him to be. He took a slight knock on his knee in training, and that's kind of set him back a little bit. And you know, it's just one of those things where we just got to remain focused and keep working, and hopefully we can figure it out. But the boys know I wish them the best. I told them all that when they decided to go over to Mesquite, and you know, they are in-town rivals. But again, I want to allude back to the fact that I do think this whole league, we're all friends, we're all family, you know, and we might compete against each other in the games, but certainly after games, certainly away from it, you know, we do lean on each other and have those conversations. And, you know, there's hopefully we can turn it around. I think that the little break that we've got now, I think this week going into Florida, and then we don't play again till San Diego, we might be able to get on the training ground and do some things that we might not necessarily been able to with a tight schedule. But again, I think we can turn it around, and I think that we've got the players. And again, you know, we've lost players last year, but we've also brought some very good players in. And Albert Rodriguez is our top goal scorer at the moment, I think, and he's been around Dallas area again, as I say, since I was at junior college, and we finally got him in. So if we can do some more findings like that, I think we can be better going into next year for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. This arguably has been one of the most challenging seasons for the Sidekicks. And as a veteran, leader, captain of this team, like, how do you keep the locker room motivated when the team's going on this kind of a run?
It's difficult, obviously, because I don't want to be on this kind of run either as the captain of this team. You know, I felt like that. You know, we're finding ways to get into players. Obviously, every player is different. You can be hard on some players. You have to put your arm around others, and that's definitely been challenging for me this year as captain to manage the personalities that we have. But we know we stick together. We know that we're going to fight for each other. We know we're going to commit. And, again, as I say, the results definitely haven't gone our way. And I don't think that's down to anything but us as individuals in certain moments of learning from mistakes and taking care of those in-game decisions that we keep letting ourselves down. I don't think at this point in the season, too many men on the field shouldn't even be a question mark, but we're still trying to find those line changes. We're still trying to find that chemistry between everybody. That's something that we have to deal with internally and make sure that we continue to make steps to go forward, because at this point, it's coming close to, I think we're past halfway through the season and we still haven't really registered a win. That's defeating. But we're still working hard as it is. We just got to keep fighting and we've got to keep staying with each other. And I think we're doing a good job at being close with each other at this moment in time with the results that we've been having.
Yeah, no, totally understandable. I mean, you guys have been grinding it out. You see it. You're easily turning Dallas versus Mesquite into one of the best rivalries in the MASL. So we've definitely gotten a lot of that, which has been exciting. Unfortunate result for you guys in that last game, but quite a game, quite a showing against Mesquite the last time around. Now, you mentioned, you guys are going to be heading back to San Diego in a couple of weeks, but the last time you were in San Diego, you had a heck of a goal, man. It was incredible. I remember just watching on the couch with Panda, and we saw you let it fly from practically three quarters length of the turf. We're like, no, is he? And then when you hit it past Pardo, Panda and I were like, no way, I can't believe replay. I mean, we went nuts. Like, walk us through how that play developed and what was running through your head when you took that shot.
I mean, it's just one of those things that I think when we get the ball and we're in that such tight defensive zone and we were under so much pressure, it rolled to me and I took a glimpse and I just saw Boris a little bit maybe too far off his line and look, I'd scored against one of the best goalkeepers I think this league has ever seen and I immediately went up to him after the game. I went, mate, I have to apologize. Like I meant it because I knew what I was doing, but at the same time, Boris is a friend of mine and I didn't want to, do it to him per se. But no, I got it and I just turned around and I thought, if he's there, I'm going to try. And thankfully it went in and, I look at what I can produce for this team about just getting my team results. And I think in that moment there, it gave us a little bit of a spark. It wasn't enough, obviously, because we didn't go on to win the game. But, that's what I do, no matter if it's from 3/4 of the length or a yard inside the goal, yard outside the goal. I have to bring goals to this team and I have to bring assists. And that gives us the best chance. And yeah, again, as I say, I had it in my mind as soon as I received the ball that I was going to have a go. And yeah, it went in. So yeah, I mean, it was a great goal. I won't take that away from anybody, and I think that was a moment that will live with my family and the rest of Dallas for a very long time, and hopefully for the league. It's another opportunity to show that we can have players that can do so many different crazy things in this league, and just shows how good the league is. Not speaking about myself, obviously, but with the likes of Bennett, Taiyu, and all those guys. I mean, week in, week out, we see so many phenomenal things that these players are providing in this league. And it just brings hopefully more spectators and more showtime for us because, again, I would try it again tomorrow. And I think if it ever arises, I will try it again. And just unfortunately, it went in against San Diego, a former team of mine, and again, against a very good friend too. So, I mean, I take that part away. But again, I was very happy scoring a good goal like that.
I mean, I don't know if Zlatan or Wayne Rooney could have hit it better than you did on that. It was a heck of a goal, man. And a brilliant marketing piece, honestly, for the league. Just like you alluded to. I mean, for kids to see those kind of highlight reels, that gets people excited and jazzed up. I mean, if the season were to end today, which I'm glad it's not, you have my vote for goal of the year. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Now, outside of the turf, now into the turf of real life, you recently became a U.S. citizen. I loved your comment about how you went to bed a resident and woke up a citizen. Now, as you know, that's not an easy process. And you being from England, I guess I have to start out by asking, like, what did your mom and dad think when you decided to apply and get U.S. citizenship?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things now that I have a beautiful family here at home. I think you might be able to hear some of them in the background, 2 little ones. I have 2 older ones and a beautiful wife here that I knew that this is where I wanted to be for the rest of my life and applying for citizenship. was something that we spoke about in detail, and we applied for it. And to be honest, I was really nervous about even just going into the interview. I was reading pages upon pages about questions and stuff like that. And, I went in and did the interview, and it was probably one of the easiest things I've had to do, because the gentleman that did it was unbelievable. He was talking me through questions and asking me, again, that nervousness just kind of shook off in seconds. And yeah, no, I mean, it was always something that I wanted to do ever since I moved there. I kind of never wanted to leave. I kind of wanted to, be around my family and be with them long term here in the country. And yeah, no, I'm super honored to be now a citizen of the country. And I got my passport through the other day, and that was an exciting moment. And obviously that's priceless for us. Again, being English born and thinking that I would never ever leave that country to now never ever leaving this one is my intent. Now to be a citizen is unbelievable. But yeah, no, I'm super blessed, super grateful, and yeah, long may it continue. So can't get rid of me yet.
Two of my favorite sons of England just became U.S. citizens. You and Roger Bennett from Men in Blazers.
There you go. See.
Awesome stuff. I bet it's going to be a real trip too. The minute you head back to England for a vacation and you talk to the immigration officer with your accent, and then looking at your passport, looking at you, looking at place of birth, and going, "All right, should we let this guy in? Really?"
I don't have a choice, because I'll travel back on my English passport and come back on my US passport. So there you go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, I got a couple of fun questions for you, just to kind of, I'm going to throw them out there rapid fire. Don't have to think too much on it. Don't dwell on it. Whatever comes to the mind, obviously, as a Freudian theorist would say, that's your answer. So a couple of quick questions before we let you go. Let's start with, who was your favorite football/soccer team growing up?
Chelsea. Okay. Massive Chelsea fan, huge Chelsea fan, and not a Chelsea fan for the last 10 years. I was born into it, didn't have a choice. My dad even brings it up every now and then. I actually tried, for some reason, I don't quite remember, but I actually tried to be an Arsenal fan because I really liked Thierry Henry at one point. And I think my dad turned around and said, "Get out of the house." So it was either be homeless or be a Chelsea fan. So no, I love Chelsea, everything about it. Sister's called Chelsea. The little ones have all the Chelsea kits and stuff like that. So yeah, massive Chelsea fan.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So what about your favorite sport/team to follow outside of this one?
Oh, I don't have one. And if it was to be a different sport, I'm going to go Miami Heat. I'm a massive Miami Heat fan too. Big Miami Heat fan. Heat Nation all the way, baby.
I'm a born and raised New Yorker. I love the Knicks. My favorite NBA team certainly had a rival with your favorite NBA team.
Yeah. Epic. No, yeah, that's massive Heat fan. And obviously at my time when I came into the country and sort of lived here, LeBron was there, but my biggest one at the start, and it always is Shaq. You can't beat Shaq. Shaq's the man.
No, we certainly love Shaq, regardless of where he was.
Yeah.
What is your favorite football memory as a player and as a spectator?
Favorite football memory would be the day that I think I played my first pro game back home in England. That was again, like we talked about it a couple of times already. That was a dream, and I started the first game, and the coach came up to me before the game and sort of said, "How far can you throw the ball in the box?" And I was like, "That's a really weird question to ask me." And then I got back into the changing room, and he said I was starting, and like my captain at the time gave me a massive nudge, and I was like, "What happened?" And he said, "You're starting." And that to me, like that was the biggest moment of my life, and I don't think that would ever change. Biggest moment as a spectator, there's got to be Chelsea winning the Champions League. The two times that we won it. Unfortunately, I couldn't travel the last one when we played Man City, but my brother and my dad were there. My dad was actually in Moscow when they lost, and then obviously when we beat Bayern Munich, that was a pretty special day for a spectator. So yeah, I'd have to say my pro debut for me personally, and as a spectator, definitely Chelsea winning the Champions League.
All right. What is Jamie Lovegrove going to do once he hangs up his footballing boots?
Jamie Lovegrove is going to continue being in the sport. I have a great job here at FC Dallas. I work on the girls ECNL side, so technically an academy coach. And then hopefully one of my four decide to take the dream and run with it, and I'll support them in anything that they do. But definitely when I hit retirement, I know that the wife is going to bug me for a nice, decent vacation or something like that, and to spend more time with them and the family, because again, we got a rigorous schedule when we sometimes travel during the season. So yeah, definitely hit a break and yeah, to stay in it as long as I can. that's the ambition.
I love it. I love it. Then it's never really a job since you're doing the thing you love for the rest of your life.
Absolutely not.
All right. And then last, but certainly not least, is there anything you want to let anybody watching, tuning into this know about you? Anything you want to say? Any final thoughts and words from the great and incomparable Jamie Lovegrove?
No, I think that locally, get out, support your local teams, do the best you can. Again, as I say, there's so many good players in this league, all the way from West Coast to East Coast, and even North and South. And for me, I think that the league is only getting better. The league is only getting bigger. Massive thank you, obviously, to you for doing shows like this to try and get it out and try and make the market bigger. I know Alex is doing equally a good job with all the MASL stuff that he's doing. And from the moment I came into the league to where we're at now, we're miles ahead. And but no, for me, there's not really much else anybody needs to know. But again, I love this sport. I love playing this game. And again, I would say to anybody out there that ever even tunes into anything like this, find the support system, get out there and encourage yourself and take the families. Because again, the biggest thing for me is you might not even like this sport, but the entertainment side of being around, being in the music, the food, the drinks, everything else that comes into the arena is massive. And I've had people come up to me in Dallas that are literally not even soccer fans, and they don't stop coming because it's excitement 24/7 in the game. So no, massive thank you, obviously, again, as I say, to you and to everybody else that keeps putting this league on the map, and long may it continue.
Appreciate you. Your performance has also put the league on the map, so we really appreciate that. Yeah, and just wanted to wish you a speedy recovery. Good luck with the rest of the season. I mean, the league is better when it has people like you on there, and obviously, I thought so highly of you for a long time, and just want to say thank you for that little piece right there. I got to get a frame for it. I don't have a frame for it, but it will be framed.
That's okay. No, you deserve it. So again, but thank you. And everybody tuning in, let's go. Let's enjoy the rest of the season. Good luck to all the teams that get into playoffs. And again, looking forward to taking the part of the remainder of the season as soon as I can get back.
I love it. Jamie the Gent Lovegrove. I don't know. I think I might have just given you a nickname. Thank you.
And
we'll see you soon.
Of course. Thank you. We'll see you.